يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After praising Allah Jalla Jalaluh and sending salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the jewel and crown of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the awakener of our souls, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most generous one, the most kind one. Undoubtedly He is the most beautiful one, none other than Sayyiduna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Today our youngsters are struggling with many tests and difficulties. There's a crisis in the lives of many young people who are not practicing the deen. There are brothers sat here with beards who pray 5 times a day. This message may not resonate with them, and this message is certainly not intended for them, for they are on this path. They are practicing. They are reading the salah 5 times a day. They are doing and behaving in the manner that they should, what Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said and told them. But there are many other brothers and sisters out there who unfortunately are very distant from the deen. They are very far from Allah's mercy and Allah's rahmah. They are very far from Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That doesn't mean they are not connected. As long as we read the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we will always insha'Allah be saved. For there is nothing more powerful than this kalima. Every time you commit a sin and you have this feeling in your heart that why have I done this, should I have done this, you feel regret and remorse, my brother, you are on the right path. If every time you take a sip of that Jack Daniels, or you lick that zoot, or you snort that lime up your nose, or every time you pump some juice into your arms, or every time you think of stealing a car, or you think of gambling on Betfair and William Hill, every time you think of doing something wrong, and say you did do that wrong, you went out and you did something haram, something makruh, something disliked, something against the Sharia. Okay, you've done this. But afterwards you have that feeling, why did I do it? Should I have done this? You have regret in your heart, you have remorse in your heart. The fear of Allah, it hits your heart. My brother, you are on the right path. Do not let that feeling ever leave you. It is that feeling that insha'Allah will change you. It is a sign that you have Iman in your heart. There is life of Iman inside you. The sad reality is, there's many brothers who will do wrong, but that feeling no longer exists inside them. That's the sad reality. They will smoke and they will not fear Allah. They don't care about their mothers and fathers when they deal drugs. They will go out and do wrong. They will promote themselves as so-called gangsters. But sad reality is, my brothers and sisters, they have no fear in the hearts of Allah. There's no regret left, no ghairat left. You know, ghairah is a massive thing. Having this regret and self-respect, it's huge. They don't have that left. They don't have that feeling. What am I doing? I have to show my face to Allah. That regret, that little bit of Iman that may be inside him, he lost it in that nightclub one night. When he thought, forget this, who does he think he is? Who is that? I'm the man. I am 10 men. I've got this, I've got money, I've got cars, I've got women. He thinks the shaitan has deceived him so badly. He has been corrupted and he has been misguided that now If you say to the brother, read your salah, he says, I don't need to pray, I don't need to fast, I don't need to do any of this. You know what's sad? We know a lot of brothers like that. There's a lot of brothers out there who are in that situation. They are in that scenario. They are going through this feeling. But for them, there is still hope as well. The hope for them is that they do tawbah. They repent to Allah. They turn back to Allah. I have seen many so-called gangsters, many so-called bad boys, many men who had a lot of women, they had women, a lot of money and wealth, they had cars, they had properties. And then there came a moment in their life they changed. They realized, you know what, is it worth it? By Allah, is it worth it? Is it worth it having these cars? Most of these lads, they're leasing or financing cars. They can't even afford to cash them out. And they think they're bad because they're in an RS3, or they're in an RS4, or because they're in an RS6. Some of them, they buy these cars, or they get these leases on their sisters' names because they're blacklisted. Their credit isn't even good enough for them to qualify to get these cars. What are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? Why is this image for people so important to you? Why is it you have to look like a bad man in front of man? You're the same guy that nobody knew once upon a time. You're the same human. There was no existence or no origin for you once upon a time. You was ma'doom and came into wujud. And now you think you're the man. You're 10 men. Like I mentioned last night in one of the talks, message to the youth in Accrington. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. Allah said in the Quran, in Surah Al-Insan, in the surah, in the chapter of humans, in the Quran, هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. Was there not a time? Was there not a time? لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. Upon insan, upon man, you wasn't even worthy to be mentioned. Nobody knew who you were. Nobody knew of your existence. And today you think you can drive around in Warsaw like 10 men. You think you're a bad man. Because what? You have this bag on the side of your body because you've got a couple of £100 in your Barclays account and you purport yourself to be some sort of big gangster, that you're running this round and you've got that round and you're running for next man. You're nothing. You're nothing. All you are doing is destroying your life. All you're doing is destroying your parents' life. How many mans do we know who are banged up in prison, who are in jail right now, serving time because they thought they were gangsters, because they thought they had a massive round going on for coke and heroin, because they were class A drug dealers? They're nothing. Absolutely nothing. Where's their life now? They leave behind children. Those children think my dad was a bad man because he was shot in drugs on the street. Your dad ain't no bad man, he was a fool. He was a fool that he got caught. He was a fool because he thought he was running the show. He's not doing nothing. Remember, above every gangster, there is another gangster. And it's a pyramid scheme. It goes higher and higher. You're not going to get there. I'll make it even more simple for brothers sat here who have this mentality. God, Allah, did not create you to be a gangster. He did not create you so that you could be a bad boy. Allah Almighty gave you this life. He gave you the wealth. He gave you the power of Imam. He gave you La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Why? Why did Allah Jalla Jalaluhu give you this? Because this is your purpose in life. Not to be a bad boy gangster, that you got an awesome round going on in the streets of Warsaw. No. You ain't no gangster, you ain't no bad boy, you ain't no thug. Because when it comes one-to-one with someone, you need to bring 10 men with you. You ain't no bad boy. If you got to call 10 men, why can't you do it one-on-one? Where are you? How bad are you? How strong are you? Tomorrow cancer cells appear inside your body and they become apparent. You've got cancer, you're crippled, you've got 2 bullets in your kneecap. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? How strong are you? How able are you? Wasn't it 5 years ago a brother got murdered in Birchlands? Wasn't it 5 years ago a brother got murdered in Birchlands? Why? What's going on? Wasn't it only yesterday in Burnley, one lad was driving a normal car and he went and hit into a lamppost at high speed and he died on the spot? Wasn't it only a month ago in Bradford, 4 young lads died on the spot hitting a tree at 80 miles per hour? Why do you think it's cool to drive fast? Why do you think it's cool to look like a so-called gangster? You shave your beard, you do your hair, and you think, yeah, I'm the man. I've got people looking at me. Why are you so worried about your image in front of your own people? In front of insan, the same genus? Should you not spend this time attempting to put a good image before Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, so that Allah knows? And you may say, Imam Sahib, there's many religious men out there who have beards, who have jubbas, who have turbans, and they're the most corrupt people. You're right. There are many out there like that. There's no denying. The humans, they make mistakes. It's going to happen. But you know what? The Prophet ﷺ told us the crux of everything. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَىٰ صُوَرِكُمْ وَلَا إِلَىٰ أَجْسَادِكُمْ وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ وَنِيَّاتِكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Almighty, what did He say? Allah Habib alayhi salatu wasalam said, Inna Allah la yanzuru ila suwarikum. Allah does not look at your bodies. Wala ila ajsadikum. He does not look at the size of your biceps and the amount of abdominals that you may have and how big your pectorals are. Allah Almighty does not look at the size of your bodies or the clothes you wear. Walakin yanzuru ila qulubikum wa niyatikum. Allah Almighty looks at your heart. Allah looks at your intentions. He looks beyond the physical appearance. What matters before Allah is the state of your heart. How is your heart with Allah Jalla Jalaluhu? My question to you is, how is your heart with Allah right now? How is your heart with Allah right now? Is your heart distant from Allah? Or is your heart near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do you feel close to Allah right now? Or do you feel distant? I'll tell you how you can measure if you're feeling close or distant. The awliya said, that if you want to speak to Allah, pray. My question to you is, how often do you talk to Allah? If you're not praying often, then you're not talking to Him often. Yes or no? According to this saying and statement. And if you want Allah to speak to you, then open the Quran. Ask yourself, how much do I recite the Quran? If you haven't opened the Quran in a week, a month, in a year, you haven't opened the Quran and spoke to Allah, Allah hasn't spoken to you, then I ask you, how close do you feel to Allah right now then? When's the last time you did dhikr? You remembered Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. When's the last time you remembered Him and you cried in His remembrance? How many have actually cried in His remembrance? Has your heart become so cold? Has your heart become so hard? Can you not soften your heart anymore? That's what happens when you sin. When you sin and you do wrong. When you sin and you do wrong, your heart becomes hard. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, every time the son of Adam does a sin, imagine this is your heart. And on this heart, a black dot appears for every sin that you commit. And then that black dot increases. With every sin it increases, and it increases, and it increases. Eventually it gets to a point where this heart, for example this heart, this turns entirely dark, covered in sin and black dots. And then there's no nur, no light that can enter into this heart. When it's so dark and difficult for the light and nur of Islam and Iman of Allah and His Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam to enter, that person's heart gets sealed. It becomes hard. Like kalhijarat or kaswa, like stones or even harder than stones. So when you say to the brother, come to the masjid, there's a talk happening for the youth. He says, nah bro, I ain't going to the masjid. Because the devil tells him, listen, you just smoked a zoot. Last night you were high, you were stoned. I've been told 40 days you can't go and pray now. See how the devil misguides you. Okay, you had a spliff, you had a joint. For 40 days, your salah is not accepted. This is what we've heard and read. But the Prophet ﷺ said, don't read your salah in that time. Did Nabi ﷺ say that if you are intoxicated for 40 days, don't read your salah? No. Read your salah in this time. Maybe, your heart may turn Allah will forgive you and you'll have opportunity to change. A chance. A lot of young people don't get this chance. Why? Because they're so engrossed in holidays, in cars, in money, in women, in the dunya. Nabi alayhi salatu salam said, inna dunya, you know this dunya, halwatun wa hudratun. This dunya is sweet and green. This dunya is very sweet and very green. What does it mean? It's very attractive. The dunya is very attractive. We look at Conor McGregor and the lifestyle he lives. We look at David Beckham and the lifestyle he lives. We look at these female pop stars like Beyonce and the lifestyles they live. We look at the clothes they wear. We see the Gucci's and Armani's on them and the Louis Vuittons. And we say, oh yes, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to wear. I promise you, you are a Muslim, I promise you, if you pass away before your father, or you pass away with children, or in the presence of your brothers, they will not bury you in Gucci gowns, not in Louis Vuittons, not in Balenciagas. They are not going to bury you in these brands. When you are buried with 3 pieces of cloth on you, wrapped around you. When you are buried, you will be 6 feet under like every other man that came before you that believes in Allah and His Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. What is your haysiyah then? Who are you? If this is how you are going to be buried, if this is your kafan, if this is the end goal or the temporary end goal for you is that grave, is that box that is around 6 foot tall. That is your end goal. That's where you're going to end up. Then why are you wasting your time chasing after cars and money and wealth and all the things that the dunya makes look luxurious, look sweet, look nice? So, I just flip it. So, we see that people have to keep this in mind. People have to keep this in mind. The dunya is deceptive. The dunya is deceptive. Shaitan is a deception. And you have friends as well who deceive you. There are friends that we have, company. If you ask me, the biggest problem with our youth today, one of the biggest problems as to why they are where they are, because of the company they keep. Suhbah. Look at the suhbah of our youth. He's my best friend. I grew up with him. The guy snorts 200-300 pounds worth of cocaine every night. He's your best friend. MashaAllah. Why? His heart's good, bro. Man's a G in that. Yeah, every time I go on a munchies, he's treating me. He spends money on me. He does this on me. He's a good friend of yours, MashaAllah. He snorts cocaine. Okay, he does bad. What's good about him? Does he pray? Does he fast? Does he give sadaqah and zakat? Has he done hajj? What's good about him? Define goodness. What is good about this person, this company that you've got? That guy is always in a brothel. What's good about him? He's always mixing his Boost with Jack Daniels, or his Coca-Cola and Red Bull with sharab, with alcohol. What's good about him? That he drinks, that he smokes, that he steals. Is this what you have defined as good? There's something wrong with you, my brother. This is not good. These are all the af'al of shaitan and the shayateen. Actions of the devil. This is no good. So how can you say this is a good guy? You know, when you go into a blacksmith shop, a goldsmith. Who's been to a goldsmith? And I'm talking about where gold is being heated. And the guy who's working at the furnace, and he's putting the gold in, and all these sparks are coming out, and there's coal that is being used. And that blacksmith and that goldsmith pumping the furnace and keeping the boiler warm, and all this black murky dust and all of this ghurab is all over him. At that time, when he's there and you pop in and you stay with him for half an hour, I guarantee you, you come out, you'll start smelling like him. There will be a bad smell on you. You didn't pump the furnace. You didn't put the coal in. You didn't burn the gold. You didn't do anything. But why do you smell bad? Why do you smell bad? Because you're in the company of that person who smelled bad. That's company. You may not do bad. You may be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But when they keep this sort of company, then you've got to always watch behind your back if the 5-4 are watching me, or the police, or what's going to happen. I might get nabbed because my round is worth £3,000. I shot bud on the street, I shot coke on the street, I pick up 10 from here, I pick up an ounce from here, a fifth from here. I do whatever I do. The police are on my back, but that's my boy. I've got to chill with him. I've got to back him. He goes down into prison. Where are you? So much of you being his boy. You don't even ring him. He doesn't even send you a VO out to say, come on, come see me. He doesn't even care about you. You don't care about him. But he's your boy, isn't it? This is the guy who you spend your nights with. This is the guy who you used to chill with. This is the guy who used to snort cocaine with. What good is he to you? Tell me. When you die, will he make dua for you? Will he read the Quran for you? Will he come to your grave every day like your mother and father will come and make dua and cry for you? No. He ain't interested. Because in his life, cocaine is king. In his life, his desire is his God. In his life, his car is everything. Don't scratch my car. Don't scratch my car. Your life is revolving around the car. Your life revolves around drugs. Your life fixer. Where is your mind? How are you living your dunya? How are you living in this world? You're living this entire world just to please your desire. Just so that you're satisfied. Do you forget that one day you will show your face to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? One day you will stand before Allah. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. Allah said in the Quran, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ, and he who fears standing before Allah, وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ, and he fights against his desires and his ego, فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. For such a person there is paradise. The bliss of paradise which is promised and waiting for him. Who? The one who fears standing before Allah. How many of us fear Allah? You say you fear Allah, but you disobey Him. If you fear someone, then you'll do what they say. If you think you fear someone, you'll always think, I'll cut corners. Our consciousness levels are very low and weak. We are not conscious enough of Allah. Enough of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's watching. He sees every move that you do. He knows what you're going to do. Are we oblivious of Allah? If you say you believe in Allah, prove it. If you are following your desires and you've taken your desires as your God, you've taken the dunya, the car as your God, you've taken money as your God, you worship money. Hubbul mal, ra'su kulli khati'ah. Imam Ghazali rahimahullah in his Mukashafatul Qulub, a very good book that should be taught to the people. A very good book that you should all read. Mukashafatul Qulub. Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, he writes in there, Hubbul dunya ra'su kulli khati'ah. Love of this dunya, it is the reason for every sin. Because you love this dunya. You think this dunya is permanent. My brothers, I promise you, this dunya will end one day. You will end before this dunya ends. That's when your dunya will end. And I promise you, I guarantee you, when you go, someone will take you around. When you go, someone will drive your car. When you go from this dunya, somebody will take your clothes. Everything will stay behind. The dunya will not even cry for you. The only time the earth and the skies cry is when an alim passes away. When a man of God, man of Allah leaves this dunya, even the earth cries. Why is this person leaving us? He did so much good on this dunya. We are crying and doing istighfar for him, that Allah forgive him, Allah have mercy on him. See, that's the opposite level. I'm still talking about the way young people are today. How it is today, what's going on in the mind of young people today. Unfortunately, so many young people, so distant from the deen. So far from Allah and His Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Don't know when the last time we prayed our Jum'ah, last time we prayed our Salah, last time we actually prayed Salah. How many of us have actually prayed? Not prayed, actually prayed. There's a farq between saying Allahu Akbar and thinking how you're going to pay the next mortgage. Saying Allahu Akbar and how you're going to get the next installment to pay for your RS3. Saying Allahu Akbar and thinking about your wife or your girlfriend. Saying Allahu Akbar and thinking about the dunya. No, that's not prayer. That's just empty actions. What good is that salah if that heart is not connected with your Lord, with His Lord? If your heart is corrupt, everything is the heart. The heart has to be pure and clean. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, Inna fil jasadi la mudghatun. Indeed, inside the body there is a piece of flesh. If this becomes pure, the entire body is pure. If this is corrupt, the entire body is corrupt and impure. And they asked, Ya Rasulullah, Ma hiya, what is this piece of flesh? He said, Ala wa hiya al-qalb. Take heed, it's the heart. Fix your hearts. Work on your hearts. How our hair and our beards look does not matter. Some of the greatest men to have ever set foot on this earth were not concerned about their facial appearance. They were not concerned about the clothes they wore. You talk about men. Allah describes, give the definition of a man. Man isn't he who's got 100 properties. Man isn't he who's got a nice hairstyle and got cars and wealth and women. No. Allah Almighty said, Rijalun. Rajul, Wahid. Rijal, Jama. Rajul means one man. Rijal means men. Rijalun. Allah said men. لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله. رجال men. You know who men are? لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله. You know, business, money, do not distract them. Do not divert them from the remembrance of Allah. If you are earning money and it has diverted you from Allah, I'm sorry. According to the definition of the Quran, you ain't no man. You're not a man. You're a man when all you do is remember Allah. In that remembrance, if money was to come, if wealth was to come, if you was to earn, you're doing taxis and you do dhikr of Allah. You're going out working in an office, wherever you may work, halal earned income, and you remember Allah. Alhamdulillah, Summa Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, MashaAllah, La quwwata illa billah, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You do dhikr all the time, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. You send salawat, you send durood and salam, you do all of these things. When you do this, by Allah, I guarantee you there will be barakah in your money. There will be barakah inside your life. رِجَالٌ لَا تُلْهِيهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. There were men that came on this earth. And I narrate the story of that one man. And I put this story, this individual, this great personality before you. Everyone knows who this man is. Drushi for Allah. His name is Abu Hafs. This is his kunya. Abu Hafs, Umar, the son of Al-Khattab, known as Faruq Azam, radiyallahu ta'ala, Amir al-Mu'mineen, second Khalifa in the Muslim Ummah, after Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Sayyidina Umar, in appearance, there was a bald scalp that he had, no hair in the front. And he had a very large beard. Sayyidina Umar bin al-Khattab was from a very powerful family. Sayyidina Umar, he was one of the most feared men in Arabia. He was learned in the Arabic language. When he became Muslim, he was Hafiz of the Quran. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, one of the most feared and greatest companions. It is reported that he used to jump on his horse And he was so tall that Sayyidina Umar's feet used to touch the ground while on his horse. When you're on a horse, you're around 6 foot in the air, 5 to 6 foot in the air. Sayyidina Umar's feet were touching the ground whilst on the horse. This is how tall he was. Very strong build, tall in stature. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was that man about whom the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Inna shaytana la yafuka minka ya Umar. Oh Umar, every time I look at you, I see that the devil makes a U-turn. The devil doesn't go next to you. Umar, every angel in the heaven honors and respects you. Every devil on this earth is scared of you. Umar bin al-Khattab. Sayyidina Umar, he used to have 2 black lines on his cheeks. One day his students asked him, why is it that you have 2 black lines on your cheek? And he said, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, during the day whilst I am running the affairs of the Muslim Ummah, when I have time at night, I cry to Allah. I cry so much, I cried so much throughout my life that my tears have burnt my skin. This is a man who Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam promised paradise. That Umar fil Jannah, he is in paradise. There is no dispute, no question that Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu is in paradise. But he used to cry every single night. Sayyidina Umar, when he became Muslim, before he became Muslim, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to make dua. O Allah, O Allah. O Allah, strengthen Islam through the 2 Umars. Either Umar bin al-Khattab or Umar bin al-Hisham. And the Prophet ﷺ's dua was accepted. Sayyidina Umar bin al-Khattab accepted Islam. Allah loved Sayyidina Umar more than any other Umar. He left his house wanting to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he arrived to the Prophet ﷺ, he accepted Islam. He left wanting to end Islam. Today, he is buried next to the Prophet ﷺ. Sayyidina Umar bin al-Khattab, he was the leader of the Muslim Ummah. His caliphate lasted around 12 years. It spread far and wide. Far and wide. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu used to wear ragged clothes, ripped clothes. He was so wealthy, if he wanted, he could have taken away. But Sayyidina Umar took nothing from Baytul Mal, and his clothes used to be ripped. He used to get cloth and stitch it on. And this is the Amirul Mu'mineen. This is the Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These were the real leaders, not the ones in Pakistan who are robbing the country dry. Every single rupee and every single penny they have robbed from there, they've been imprisoned and now they've been released. Not these leaders of the Ummah, not these leaders of the country. We're talking about the real leaders. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, look at the clothes they wore. So today, 1440 years on, I sit in Virtual Street Masjid, Jami Masjid here in Warsaw. And I am talking about Umar Farooq. And you, whenever you go to Umrah, you give salam to the Prophet ﷺ, and then Sayyidina Abu Bakr, and then Sayyidina Umar. Allah Almighty has kept the remembrance of Sayyidina Umar alive. Why? Because Sayyidina Umar gave his life to Allah. When you give your life to Allah, I promise and guarantee you that you will be remembered. But if you give your life to the street won't remember you. Because on this very same street, before you there was a so-called gangster. Before him there was a so-called gangster. One by one they came and went. Came and went. You're just another yo-yo on there. And your time will be up soon. Like they say, every dog has its day. Every dog has its day. Today you're running around dealing drugs and feeding people haram and killing people. Today you're carrying 9.9s and 9mm in your pockets and you think you're a bad man. Don't worry, one day there will come a day you can run but you cannot hide. You can run from the police, you can even hide from the police. But I promise you, you can run from Allah, but you cannot hide from Him. He will find you, He will catch you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when I say He'll find and catch you, it doesn't mean that Allah doesn't know where you are, or that you're lost, or Allah doesn't have this ilm. He knows. You will have to stand before Allah. Meaning you will come into the grift of Rabbi Zul Jalal. Inna batsha rabbika la shadid. Allah Almighty's grift is very, very severe. When you will stand before Allah, you can't run and hide then. You can't use no power then. Then you will stand before Allah and you will be asked, how did you earn your money? How did you spend your youth? How did you live your life? Prepare your answers now, my brothers, before it's too late. There is time to change for all of us, me included. I am no sinless person sat before you. I have made many mistakes in my life as well. But I have hope in the mercy of Allah. Even though people are very harsh, they don't give man's chance, but Allah is very merciful. We don't live for people, we live for Allah. Our life and our objective and mission is to please Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our objective on this earth is to make Allah happy, not to make your chacha happy on his wedding, on your wedding. Just to prove to him, I had a Lamborghini and I got a Porsche, and he's never drove a fast car in his life. He's going to hit into a bloody wall on his wedding day. Shukr, his wife wasn't in his car. How many videos have we seen like that? Idiots. Think it's cool. Why are you wasting so much of your dad's halal money on Lamborghinis? What's a Lamborghini going to do for one day? If you got it free, no problem. My wedding, I might get it free. But if you haven't got it free, then my brothers and sisters, it is not worth spending thousands of pounds to hire a car for one weekend. I'm not here to stop the hiring his businesses. No. But I'm here to stop you from making stupid investments. It's not even an investment. An investment is that which there is return. This is not an investment, this is a pure loss. You have lost. You're not gained nothing. You put 1,500, 2,000 pounds into a Bugatti Veyron, or into a Lamborghini SV, or an Aventador, or a Gallardo, whatever you may have got. A Rolls Royce, Phantom, Ghost, just to look good in front of your dad's brother and his sons. To say, look, Raja Sahab or Chaudhry Sahab or chicken, ina, bari gadi kadiyan, bari sone, mashallah. Dekho, zahar pon laye ina, apne kapde par. Ina, flan dita ne. Why are you trying to prove points? You spent 40 grand on a wedding. 40,000 pounds on a wedding, and you know what's the saddest reality? How many weddings have we heard that had 40,000 spent on them? They didn't even last 2 months. When you begin your life with your partner, your wife, to be in this manner, and you say, oh, Babu Sahib, no barakah in my marriage, well, do you blame yourself? How do you expect barakah in your marriage if you've gone and blown 50,000 pounds on a stage, on cars, on clothes, on gold, on God knows what else you have spent. On a holiday. I've got to take her on a really good holiday. All her life, her dad never let her out of her house on holiday. I thought I'd roll back the years ago. So it's very important that you fix up and you check. Check. What did, was it Warren G or check yourself before you wreck yourself? It was a whole long time ago. Or was it Coolio? I don't know. One of them said, check yourself before you wreck yourself. There's some truth in what these guys said in their songs. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Fix up. Fix your hearts. Work on this. Don't worry about all this. If this is beautiful, by Allah, people will see beauty on the face as well. I've seen many guys put face masks on. They put face masks on, they get their eyebrows done. It's mamnu for a woman to get an eyebrow done. I don't know how guys have found the jawaz. Where have you found permissibility to trim your brows? Allah knows best, and pluck them. I know many guys who do this. Just to look good. You spend so much money to look good, but you forget that everything, all that matters is this piece of flesh. Allah looks at this, not this. And if this is beautiful, if this is right, automatically husn will appear on the face. Beauty will emanate from that person's face. He who reads Fajr in Jamaat and congregation, the glow of Imam will shine on his face. So there's many things that I can say. I can speak all night. I was given up until before 8:45. I think 8:45 is Salat al-Isha, so I've taken too much time. There is a lot to say. Insha'Allah, insha'Allah. I pray that these brothers will organize another event. And I will come and I'll speak on different aspects as well. My brothers, don't take anything I've said to heart. It was only nasiha, advice from one younger brother or an older brother to yourselves. What did Allah say in the Quran? وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And remind them, for indeed reminders benefit the believers. This was just a polite reminder that we need to fix up, sort ourselves out before we lose more lives to dangerous driving. We lose more innocent people, young people to reckless driving, and sadly we're losing so many to the dunya and shaitan. But it's not too late. That door of tawbah hasn't closed. Turn back to Allah, repent, ask Him. He is very merciful. لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا. Do not despair of Allah's mercy. Indeed, Allah will forgive all of your sins. جزاكم الله خيرا وأحسن الجزاء. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعواي الحمد لله رب العالمين. Just before I finish, one very important announcement and a thank you as well to Maulana Muhammad Shamas, who is working in this masjid very hard with the youth. Once upon a time there was a class that he was running here and it maybe had 5 people. Now I'm hearing that there's over 50-60 people who are studying with him. This is fantastic news, and you are very fortunate that you have young brothers who are studying the deen, who are learned, who Allah is giving knowledge of the deen to, and who are becoming the torchbearers to protect and preserve and save our Iman. I'm going to request and urge all of you that you sign on to the